Crime is our number one concern. If we do not solve the crime issue, nothing else matters. I could talk to you about infrastructure, garbage pickup, our streets, our water lines, but we must solve crime. I'll do that by collaboration with other agencies. We'll definitely recruit additional officers, but then an urgency is that we'll use other agencies to work with HPD. Also, we must hold violent offenders accountable. We have a revolving door at the county jail. Violent offenders are being arrested by our police officers and turned loose either on bonds or they're fugitives and we don't know where they are. That's the repeat violent offenders that we see on the evening news, harming and killing and maiming individuals.
That's where experience counts. And I've had experience not only in the federal government for 28 years presiding over the Criminal Justice Committee as ranking or chair, or on the Judiciary Committee looking at layers of how you pour resources in to solve a problem. I'm also a senior member of the Homeland Security Committee, so I understand disasters and the need when there is an epidemic of crime, how to help people get out of that horrible hole. The focus that I would utilize is community-directed policing, community police relationships, targeting high crime areas, and I've seen it work. You go into an area that statistically and by way of the neighbors and civic clubs indicating that crime is high. It could be burglaries, it could be theft from cars, which is really on the rise here in Houston. In fact, we're the epicenter of it, and it could be the more violent crimes. So as you utilize your police very efficiently, you utilize them along with working with constables and working with sheriffs. And as you do that, you also invest in violence intervention. You work with your youth. You provide more job training programs. And then you utilize the new office at the Department of Justice to stop gun violence. And you use those resources to do that. As you clean up that neighborhood and add amenities such as lighting and policing for a period of time, you go to the next high crime area. The neighborhood will feel it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it be successful. And my experience both in Homeland Security and in the Judiciary Committee, knowing the Department of Justice, working with the state and having been a member of the City Council, actually working with HPD, actually working with firefighters on public safety, and being a hands-on mayor, I will make sure that our neighborhoods are cleaned up one by one. Crime will be a thing of the past as we work together under the administration of Mayor Jackson Lee.
There are many things that we can do for policing. First, let's bring back community policing, where police officers are spread throughout the city in storefronts. That way there is visual deterrent, and that way their response time is much faster. Second, there are many police officers that are presently doing civilian work. Let's hire more civilians to do the civilian work. That will free up police officers. And third, let's expand lighting in those areas where there's high crime. Where there's darkness, there can be higher crime.
My first meeting as mayor will be with Police Chief Troy Finner to develop a working plan to hire 500 additional uniformed police officers, have civilians assigned to the desk jobs, and acquire needed equipment and support services for him to deploy as he thinks is best for making meaningful reduction in crime. Chief Finner is capable and is the best person to trust on how to best implement these plans, and I will give him my full support. This plan will not add any new taxes.
Together with the people of Houston, I aim to tackle crime head-on. We will create a program to assist those with a criminal past in finding employment, giving them a chance to support their family. We will set up license plate readers all over the city to deter potential wrongdoers. We are committed to clearing our street of criminals. To achieve this, I urge the public to elect county officials who will sufficiently fund the district attorney's office and appoint a district attorney who will focus on prosecuting crime effectively.
The first thing I would do is to carry out the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Study Committee given to Mayor Turner at the beginning of his first term. That is, to fully civilianize the in-house law enforcement functions so that we free up more police to be in the community and out in the streets. Visibility deters crime, helps us catch criminals, and makes the community feel safer. We need to fulfill the goals of community policing introduced by Lee Brown years ago.
One thing I would do to address crime in Houston would be to increase the number of police cadet classes. Houston currently has approximately 5,200 police officers, and they are divided by 3 shifts, which is about 1,700 officers per shift, patrolling over 640 square miles. The city currently has 5 cadet classes scheduled. As mayor, I would increase the number of police cadet classes until we have an additional 1,000 police officers protecting our streets. The cadets would also be reflective of our diverse population.
The people of the city of Houston, they want reduced crime, and they also want their infrastructure upgraded. Some of the infrastructure is 75 years old. To do that, we have to have the money to pay for it. Before we do those priorities of reducing crime, we have to have a balanced budget. We cannot do it by spending more money than we've got, that this city has done for decades. So my first priority would be to balance the budget, to spend less than the money we bring in, and then pay cash for 500 more police to fix the water lines, to get cleaner water.
What is one thing you would do to address crime in the city of Houston? I would hold a crime symposium, inviting experts from all over the world to help us figure this out once and for all. But one of the unaddressed crimes, in my opinion, is the number of traffic fatalities in the world. This was last year's amount. This doesn't have to happen. If we all drive better, I think we can improve on that, maybe eliminate that.
We know that we must address crime. As a police officer and someone who has put on a blue uniform, I know all about crime. I want all of our police officers to address a silent elephant in Houston, Texas: mental health. I'm a mental health trained officer, and my mother struggled with schizoaffective major depression throughout my entire childhood. So I know that we have to lean on our civilian counterparts to help us and assist with mental health crisis. I want to bring the civilians and the police together so we can address mental health.